there are a number of value priced cameras that are literally like 50 bucks or so. So I decided, you know what, it'd be great to put the two of them head to head and see, well, do you need to spend $400 for a GoPro or not? Is it that much of a difference? I recently picked up GoPro's top-of-the-line camera, which as of today is the GoPro Hero 7 Black, the Black Edition. That's the one that is currently about $400, and it shoots at 4K video at 60 frames per second. And I noticed as I was shopping for that particular camera, there are a number of value-priced cameras that are literally like 50 bucks or so. So I decided, you know what, it'd be great to put the two of them head to head and see, well, do you need to spend $400 for a GoPro or not? Is it that much of a difference? So at this particular moment, I'm shooting this with both cameras sitting on a tripod right next to each other. So I can contrast the two here and there. One thing I'd like to draw attention to is the way that it's packaged. This is the kit for the Wimius, all right? And again, this is a value price camera in the $50 or so range. And what blew my mind above everything else is, like, I bought the GoPro and it literally just came with a clip and two things that you can suction your, not even suction, you basically glue the mounts to something either rounded or flat. That was it. That's all they give you in the box. And then I started looking at the prices of all the various little connectors and gadgets. Like this one is to go on a pole, like a bicycle, handlebars, and what it costs to get an extra battery and all sorts of other things. And the interesting thing is that the GoPro, for example, does have a remote option, and it's $79. Nicely, though, you can use your phone as a remote, but they included a remote in the value priced model at no extra charge. And what's kind of nice there is you have one button for photo and one button for video. So if you're using this on the go, and by the way, this has notches in there for straps, so you can put the remote on the strap and just strap it onto yourself or onto your hand and basically just tap, and you won't lose the remote. Speaking of lose the remote, I used a similar camera in a whitewater rafting trip once, and I did not have a strap on that one, and it did get lost in the river. So the idea that you have a strap and the remote that has a strap is awesome. And a remote for the GoPro is $79. This is included for the price. The strap, by the way, can also be used for other things. Like there are these other adapters, as I mentioned, just like GoPro gives you one is flat and one is slightly curved. You could put this on your arm and use it to not only strap down the remote, but you can use these strapping systems to actually strap the camera to your wrist and just use it interactively like that, so you can do your skiing or whatever and keep the camera at the ready when you want to shoot something. So if you're hiking and you just want to shoot something, you just pull it out, hit the start button, and then wave it out like that. So in summary, not even in summary yet, you get the strap, you get the remote, you get a spare battery, which is something that you don't get with a GoPro. They're $20 each for a battery for a GoPro. So right there, you've got the battery, you've got the remote, you've got handlebar connector, you have a charging cable, which is a micro USB. You get a charging device, so you can charge them outside of the camera. You basically just pop the battery into here, and it has a micro USB thing, and you can charge it with anything that's got that. You've got the two mounts, just like GoPro gives you, one slightly curved, one not. But one thing they did that I thought was very helpful also is that built into this, they also made it have a screw mount, so you can take this and mount it on top of a conventional tripod. Also a good value. Various anglers and different things to clip into the traditional GoPro mounts. They all have the same kind of threading as a GoPro mount, so you could choose the same equipment from a GoPro. Again, this one here adapts it for a tripod, and I'm also using the one that came with it. There's another one. It's on the camera as I'm shooting. Again, more brackets, more types, a little lens cleaner, a lanyard thing that kind of holds it down in case you're using it on some kind of equipment, you're worried about it drifting away. More Velcro straps, a plastic housing for going underwater with a spare door, which I thought was interesting. I should note though that the GoPro doesn't need a housing to go underwater, so you don't need that. There was a QR code and insert that tells you how to get to their app, which you could use to transfer photos. And by the way, I should mention, when you transfer the photos, you would probably want to use the app if you have an Apple, because for what it's worth, when you use the card, which by the way is a micro SD, the smaller version, when you use the card in a card reader on a Windows machine, it recognizes it. It's FAT32 file system, but when you use that same card on a Mac, it doesn't recognize it, at least not that way, because it's not in a compatible file system that a Mac can recognize. So it will give you an error which you can ignore, and then you have to use another method of getting it. But you could use the app on your phone, and that's the way you should transfer your photos there. They give you a little book. For what it's worth, the GoPro doesn't give you much of a book. It's just a couple of cartoon illustrations how to take it out of the mount and turn it on. And they do have a PDF of their book, but it's nice to give you a little book here. They also give you a spare battery for the remote, which I thought was interesting. I thought it was the battery for the remote, but it actually already worked. So this is really just a spare. That was nice of them. And they give you a nice little case to put your camera in when you're traveling. And it's really high quality. It's kind of waterproof-ish. You wouldn't call it waterproof, but it's water resistant. It's rubbery, and it's soft on the inside, kind of, I guess, fabric lined, rubbery on the outside. So that's another nice value. One thing I should address, the elephant in the room, picture quality and sound quality. GoPros for years have had lousy sound quality, and that's a given with a lot of sports cameras over the years. Most people don't even use the sound that comes out of a sport event if they're running or doing something with it, and they just kind of put some kind of rock and roll or some other music if it's nature. But GoPro has improved their microphones over the years, but to me it still sounds pretty lame. So in this particular video, you're hearing the audio from this microphone. It's a $1,300 Neumann voiceover microphone, but here's what the audio sounds like. I'm going to just switch over so you can hear it. This is the sounds coming from the Wimius. So you're hearing right now the sound from the Wimius. It's about 5 feet away from me right now, the camera, so it won't be as loud as when I was talking to this microphone. And for the purposes of demonstration, here's the sound of the microphone on the GoPro. This is the sound the GoPro microphone picks up. Now, I could tell you the sound on the GoPro was drastically better than the Wimius. The Wimius, though, again, a lot of people when they shoot sports videos or action cam videos aren't really concerned with audio that much. They just really want to capture the moment. And for years, GoPro never really addressed that, and people who used them on a serious level always had some sort of external mic or a lapel mic or some other way of capturing the audio outside the camera. So I'm capturing this audio, except for that section before, on my Neumann. I want to also address the picture quality. The GoPro has drastically better stabilization. Even over last year's model and the year before's model, it's still second to none. So it's going to be hard for anyone to be able to compete with that. I do see a lot of value in someone using this camera and just getting all the accessories and saying, wow, I just saved a bunch of money on accessories, and then even using them with a GoPro. But if you have a certain types of things you want to capture it with, I think it's great as a dash cam. I think it would do a fantastic job as a dash cam for that price. You just get a suction mount or use one of these peel off mounts and stick that on there. You could go. stick this to your windshield and then pop the camera in whenever you want. It would make a great dash cam. It has a looping mode specifically for that purpose, where it can just continuously record when you turn it on, and then when it reaches the end, it just starts erasing the oldest version, so you can have it do that. You would need to charge it or give it power, but you can get a longer cable and plug it into your car's accessory port or something like that. Photos were pretty good. I wouldn't say they're as good as the GoPros, but they were pretty good. I took a bunch of outdoor shots. Indoor shots was definitely a bigger difference, but these cameras really were never designed for indoors, and the GoPro does look better indoors than the Wimius. Right now, of course, obviously I am indoors, but under low lighting conditions, I have pretty good lighting in here. Under low lighting conditions, the GoPro definitely does better, but again, most people are using it outdoors, so that is less of an issue. In summary, I think it's a great value. It's not a replacement for someone who needs the high-end quality of a GoPro Hero 7. I mean, that's, there are GoPros that are less expensive, but this is the best one, and it's the best for a number of other reasons. You have voice control and a whole bunch of other features, and it's used even in feature films and whatnot these days. So in summary, I definitely would recommend the camera to someone on a budget that wants at least some of the functionality of a GoPro. It does do a lot of the same things. It doesn't have that image stabilization, but nothing really does. And I wasn't surprised by that. Again, sound quality wasn't great, but most people aren't using the sound from there. If they really wanted to, they're out there skateboarding or something like that, they just want to capture what's going on, someone holding the camera on their friends while they do a maneuver, or mounting it on their helmet and just showing what they're doing. So it can do a good job there. Again, stabilization isn't quite there, but it's judge for yourself by watching these videos, again, side by side. I'm switching back and forth a little bit. So it's a thumbs up for me.
Yeah, that's funny. That's funny. You and I, we kind of get along so well. We should meet one day. I mean, we've talked about it a dozen times by now. Yeah, why not? A little, we'll go out to a movie or something like that. How's that sound? Oh, I should just let you know, by the way, the pictures of my profile, they're not exactly accurate. The muscles you saw in the pictures, I photoshopped them in. yeah, I know. And the head, I'm not good at Photoshop, so I left the head on it. Yeah. No. Well, how about coffee? Oh, hey, sorry. Where was I? Oh, yeah. I hope you liked the video, yada, yada, yada. Hit like, hit share, hit subscribe, hit the bell, make sure everybody sees it, share it with your friends, and thanks for watching.